What's going on, guys? This is Techno Bob here, and so today I'm going to be walking y'all through the steps of downloading an IDE like VS Code and then getting Java set up so that you could start coding projects in Java and start working with Java within your IDE. So in this case, I already have VS Code downloaded on the top left, but if you don't have VS Code downloaded already, you could just come into your web browser, search up VS Code. It should be this first link. Just make sure it's Visual Studio Code, and then you just want to download for whatever platform you're using. I'm using a Mac OS. If you're using a Windows, download it for Windows or Linux. I believe there's also a version for that. But once you have that set up, you can come over here to your Visual Studio Code. Just open it up, make sure it's functioning, it's open. But before going ahead and doing anything in Visual Studio, this shouldn't show up. It's just a personal project. But if you want to go ahead and start, something that I would recommend if, before starting working on your projects is I would come down here in your desktop and I would create a new folder. Name this anything. I'm just going to name it, in this case, Test Java, or I did not name it Test Java. This is just so any other folders that I create with my JavaScript, with my Java code, it would actually just be stored in this folder, and I don't have to be looking for it and wherever it might be stored on my computer. So now here I could go ahead and open up VS. Once we have this, we could either go up in the top left where it says Files, or we could just do Control or Command O, Control O. Just depends on the system that you're using. So in this case, I'm gonna do Command O, and then just Desktop. Over here, I'm gonna open up that test Java folder that I created, and then here I'll just basically be open. I'll open that folder, and now any other files that I create within VS Code will all be stored in that folder. Just kind of making my life, making my coding life a much more easier, having everything stored so I don't have to go looking for it later in the future. So now that we have our folder set up and we're able to open up VS Code, our next thing would be to open up a new tab so that we can just go ahead and start coding. So we could do that up here in the top left using files. Something that I like to do is just use Control N, or it's just basically Command N. It's basically just saying Control Command or Command create a new one. And then once we're in here, we could go ahead and start writing in JavaScript, or actually up here, it would usually prompt you to select the language that you want to write in, and then you could just type Java, select Java. But in this case, I have Copilot installed, so it's trying to run my Copilot instead of trying to give me that direction. But in order to fix that, you could just go ahead and start writing in Java, and VS Code will automatically recognize that you're trying to write in Java and automatically register the file as a Java file. All right, so once we have this set up, so here in this case, now it's showing me that to select the language, you could go ahead and in here, like I said, you could just write Java, or you don't have to select anything. You could just go ahead and start writing in Java. And something that it would recognize it from Java is that Java always has to have, excuse this, which is not something that we need to have right now, but Java is basically always going to have this sort of format where it has a public class opening, and then your public class should be the same as the name as the file that you're trying to run. So in this case, I'm just going to run testg1, just test Java 1, and then I'll go ahead and leave that like that. And then to save, you could do Command S, or you could come up here in File, you could save it manually. I like doing Control S, Command S, shortcuts just save my life. And then over here, I would just make sure to leave it as testj1, same as my public class, and then that just makes it much more easier whenever you're actually trying to run the file, and it doesn't give you any errors. And then once you have that, that's going to be the first thing, your public class opening. That's going to be open. Everything that you write or you want in your Java code is going to have to be in there. And then also going to have to be inside of this public static void main string. This is basically just printing everything into your terminal. And then so basically here, once I have that in there, I could use my system.out.print new line, and then I will print out that howdy world. And then so whenever I go, so take the time if you need to write this, just get it into your system. Remember, just write, make sure this is named the same as your actual file. And then once you're actually trying to run this, For me, it's actually going to run, it's going to print Howdy World. However, for you, it might not do this. It might actually give an error just because you don't have the extensions for Java fully set up yet. However, what's really helpful about VS Code is whenever you try to run it, it'll give you the error, but then down here on the bottom right, VS Code will automatically redirect you to extensions that you could download for Java so that you could get your system working. So I'll also just show here on the left side all the Java extensions that I have. These are the ones that I've been using, and it's been making my life with Java much more easier. But I have debugger from Microsoft. I also have an extension pack. We come more down here. We also have language. We have with Red Hat, Maven with Microsoft again, and Project Manager with Java. These aren't all that you. These aren't. You don't need every single one of these extensions. I also have a test runner, but these are just optional if you want to add whatever extensions I have that have been working for me. But basically, this is a good way to get your JavaScript set up or your Java set up. And then once you have this set up, you can go ahead and just start coding, making your projects in Java. And then if you ever close out, everything's going to be stored in this folder. Just come over here, open up VS Code, and then you can just do Command O. Just come over here to your desktop, and then just open up that file. And then all your files should be in there. And then the more files that you create, they're all going to be kept stored in here. So yeah, that's basically the rundown on how to get your Java set up on VS Code, and as well as how to get your VS Code set up with folders so that you can make sure you can keep your project managing much more easier. So, yep, thank you so much, and hope you enjoyed the video.